Today on the Happy House, presented by GreaterGood Stuff, we're taking another look at some of the amazing projects I've had the opportunity to experience. The Happy House joins GreaterGood.org on a pretty amazing project today. They are doing a rescue rebuild of the 100th animal shelter. It's happening right now. Learn about an amazing program that inspires kids to read. We're joining City Harvest, the world's first food rescue organization based in New York. Learn about Free Bikes for Kids, an organization that helps kids one bike at a time. Watch Team GreaterGood Stuff take the plunge, the polar plunge for Special Olympics. We're at the Mall of America with author and photographer Seth Castile of Underwater Dogs. We're learning about an organization that is literally saving animals' lives one picture at a time. Learn how this barn in Connecticut is being transformed into a building that will be the legacy of a very special little girl. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Happy. I learned early on things are much easier with a little help. I also have a few tricks of my own to share. It's go time, people. Welcome to the Happy House, presented by GreaterGood Stuff. The Happy House crew has had the opportunity to witness and participate in so many amazing humanitarian acts. It's truly a pleasure. Today we're taking a look back at some of the projects we've been part of. I've been fortunate enough to have the opportunity to work with an amazing organization, GreaterGood.org, and specifically their signature program, Rescue Rebuild. I took a trip to Tampa to help rebuild an animal shelter and learned what a catio was. We're not in Tampa anymore. This shelter is kind of in the middle of nowhere. We're here! What do you want me to say? The Happy House is in Florida. We're with GreaterGood.org watching an amazing project, the 100th rescue rebuild of an animal shelter.
In 2011, we had great adoptions. I mean, for us, we did 50. Every year since then, it's been an increase.
This is Caitlin. Caitlin's absolutely beautiful. She's a real pretty cat. She's another one who was more standoffish, and we have been working with her, and she has managed to come around. 2012, we went to 129 adoptions. Happy as heck.
This little girl's Jackie.
Hi, Jackie.
She was a surrender, but apparently she had a little bit of mistreatment or difficulty with males.
Okay.
So she's a little shy with males. But
She seems okay with you right now.
Well, yeah, I'm the one with the treats.
2013, we got a little bit cocky, and we set our goal for 200. We only got 199, so we blew it.
That's when one of the volunteers needs to just adopt a pet themselves.
Well, I was thinking about taking one home, but I already had my share.
Okay.
I can tell you she's a nice cat. She's sweet. She's ready to go home.
Oh, she's ready to go
You
home.
ready to go home with somebody, Whitney, darling?
This year, 2015, we had 356, but that doesn't tell the whole story, because we had another 650 animals over in animal services that we were able to place. And so it's over 1,000 animals this year in 2015.
That's basically 3 animals every single day finding a home.
Yes, it is.
That's really great
With
work.
a very, very small staff.
Most people think of donating their old towels and bedding and blankets to collection sites such as the Goodwill or Salvation Army, which is a great idea, but think of your local animal shelter first, because they use these things to create warm, comfortable, dry beds for all of the animals in the shelter.
This is Luther, and it's my understanding that A young veteran, after 8 years in the military, had left the military and went back to work for them as a contractor. He needed to go out of the country for 15 months, but had 3 pets, 3 dogs. And he found some women that had volunteered to take care of them while he was gone. Upon returning, he went to them and they had given 2 of them away, and the woman just said she had no idea what happened to the 3rd. So he began looking for them as best he could, but he had to go back again overseas, and this time he just stayed gone for 5 years over there. When he came back, this is 6 years, of not seeing his dogs. Fortunately, he had adopted 2 of them, and they were microchipped. And because they were microchipped, they went missing in Texas, and this is in Florida. But the shelter here, in Sumter County Shelter, scanned Luther, found the chip. They were able to track down the owner, get in touch with him, and now he gets to spend the rest of his years, his elderly years, with somebody that really loves him and will give him the kind of home that he deserves.
So how is he going to get from Florida to where? Where is he going?
He's going to Texas.
Okay.
Someone here had asked if anyone was in Texas. I said, well, we're in Oklahoma, and I know someone who is an outstanding transporter. These are free transports, and she's going to set it up so that he will be transported from here all the way to Texas. It'll take about 4 days because the transport is done in legs, and volunteers will take him, an hour and a half worth of their length. He'll be walked, given water, loved on, and then he'll go to the next transporter for his next leg.
That is so great. And so it'll take him about 4 days and then he'll be home.
Volunteers will also keep him overnight in the cities where he'll overnight. So it's just all set up by people who really care about the animals and want to see them in loving homes.
That is so great.
When Rescue Rebuild looks for a shelter, we look for a lot of things. Who's doing the most for the community? Who's really going to be impacted the most? Who's really could benefit the most from what we could do for them? And so that's why we landed here, because we came here and this building is, it's kind of tattered on the outside. It's really, really tattered on the inside when we got here. And they were housing dogs and cats together. So the space in here is like a 10-foot by 20-foot. I have friends who have bigger closets than they were using as intake. So tiny space, dogs and cats living together. Some were sick because this is where they come to get intake and quarantine and all that. Not a great situation. So we decided to take their existing building, 1 species only, and then use their other existing building and put that as their cat intake. So now we'll have dog intake, we'll have cat intake, totally separate and much easier to clean with the renovations that are being done. And then we dropped a new building. So that was the cool thing, is we could drop this new building, really make it the showpiece for the shelter and have it as a cool adoption center. So it's getting all the cute touches. That's where all the cute is going on.
That's where the magic's happening?
That's where the magic's happening.
So how many of these projects have you been on?
Gosh, this is our 100th. Can you imagine? 100.
That's a lot.
I spend more time in shelters than home. It's a good day.
There's a lot of commotion going on around me. We're going to learn more about what's happening on this project from Brenna Donnelly with Rescue Rebuild.
All right, so the mess you see here we've created, this disaster wasn't like this. We've still got open trenches because we've run all new electrical stuff. We didn't do it, we had an electrician do it. Okay. So it's kind of like a hazard of hazards out here. So this is our catio. That's our fancy name for outdoor cat enclosures. So we built this, it's all Florida hurricane proof, so the kitties can stay here and not blow to Kansas. And this will be their outdoor space. It's so much research has gone into really how healthy cats are when they live in cages, and it's not good. No. So lots of fresh air, get them out of the cages, get them some outdoor space, fresh air, sunlight, beautiful. So they'll have it. Don't mind the step. They'll get a nice. Oh, I know, isn't it the cutest thing ever?
Yes, it's perfect.
So yeah, and they'll get a nice ramp here with no slip paint on it, so keep them nice and safe and sound. And then let me show you, this is going to be the cutest part for me. because the families will walk in and that will be the first thing they see is that super cute mural that these guys have done out of silhouetted cutouts.
That is adorable.
And these are the masterminds behind the cuteness. This is Dwight and Charlie. Gosh, you guys, you've been with me how many years now? 2? This is probably, yeah, a few. And Charlie's been here almost as long. Both retired teachers, and I love it. We have an art teacher and a shop teacher. It's like Reese's peanut butter cups, 2 great tastes that go great together.
That's the best of both
He
worlds.
free-handed these cats. I'm just like, really? I struggle with stick figures. They're both really into like what is best for the cats and how to move them and how do you traffic pattern and do the flow. You never want cats being trapped in a corner with each other. They need exits, and so they're really good at designing stuff like this that's cute and really, really effective.
I'm intrigued by these because I'm a little bit of a do-it-yourselfer myself, and these look like the epitome of a DIY project. How
They
did this
are.
come to be?
So Rescue Rebuild like thrives on what can we do for very little amounts of money, because we try to get the most out of every budget.
Make nothing
and
into something.
So I looked into these beautiful, very natural cat trees online, and I about had a heart attack when I saw how much they cost. And I was just like, we can do this. So I actually cut these down off of our property from a tree that had died, brought it all the way down here. I did treat them with fungicides before we brought them down. It's all good. And then these guys created this magic.
How do people find out about programs like this or how they can help?
Absolutely. Volunteering is what makes this work. So on our rescuerebuild.org website, you can go and fill out our volunteer application. You get on our mailing list, our email list, and when we have a job, we blast it out and say, hey, you want to come
need your
help?
help, yeah.
Come help us make this happen. So everything is double containment here. You've got the outer perimeter gates so that if a dog gets out, it's not going to run right out into the road, and that's kind of what we're seeing here. So we just built this double containment for our next cat building, just so that, you know, volunteers coming through with lots of stuff in their hands, it's really easy for a cat to get out. So what you're seeing here then is where they're going to have the intake cats. I love that furry one.
I do too.
The face. Oh.
They're all really cute.
Cats and kitty litter boxes cracks me up. You have all this beautiful enrichment, and where do they spend time? Litter box. So redoing everything. More volunteers. You know what? We've got to make fun of Miss Paula in the back. Paula has come all the way from Oklahoma to help paint. Can you imagine the dedication? We met Paula in what, 2011? I think 2011 or 12 in Guthrie. Yep, so we met her doing a rebuild on a shelter that got leveled by an F5 tornado. So, you know, we roped her in. We need good help. So all the way from Oklahoma to come help with this project.
That's really great.
It's amazing.
These volunteers are very dedicated.
You got it. So this is it. What do you think? It's like color chaos. I love it.
This is amazing. Now, was all this stuff built by you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, so one of the things that people forget about is the volunteers. You know, I mean, the dogs don't really care about the color and the polka dots.
Right.
But when you're trying to encourage volunteerism and get people to come out and walk dogs and play with dogs, and that's hugely important. I mean, these dogs, they need to be played with and enriched. And so you have something fun like this, and it encourages people and families to come out here. It doesn't seem like a depressing penal colony kind of thing, you know?
Right.
So we like to fun it up, and
Bright
so
colors.
bright
Also,
colors.
I think kids would be really receptive to possibly doing a meet and greet with
Oh,
a
absolutely.
potential dog for their family in here.
Yep.
Basically, we come out just about every weekend. My daughter wants to be a veterinarian, and she comes out and she spends time with the dogs, walking them, getting them out of their cage. It helps with making them more lovable. When people come out and look at the dogs, they're more likely to be adopted because they've been handled and been given attention.
Ever since I was 3 years old, I've wanted to become a veterinarian, and so like I have like a really big passion for animals, and I love coming out here. It's like an escape from everything else going on, like, you know, in middle school and everything. And I just love being out here with the dogs and cats. It's just really fun.
I had the opportunity to meet a very young volunteer you have that comes here, and I think it's really admirable that you are. She told me how hard she had to work to find a place that would actually let her serve animals.
Yep. Well, and you know, it's, some people look at it as a liability issue. Any of the young people here that are working with us, if their parent is here, you know, it works. It works well. And my gosh, what else should we be doing? This is the young people who are going to run this place eventually.
Right.
So give them a chance now. Yeah, absolutely.
It's nap time here at the shelter. All of the dogs are going to be taken from their outdoor crates. They've had walks already, they've been out to play this morning, and now it's their nap time. I'm told after nap time they get a treat, which is also exciting for them. You guys have a busy day. Hey, it's nap time. Are you ready for your nap? Okay.
What's the dealio?
So we want to put a trim over here.
Okay.
I'm wondering if you're okay with that before we go over it.
Yeah, the way they built this wall out over that door has really complicated life.
I'm sorry, how does a professor become a contractor, basically? Because this is what's happened.
It's really all about the dogs and the cats for me, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I was a college professor. Where the school these kids, most of them came from, is where I used to teach. And so it just got to be more and more of me coming in with the dog ate my homework excuses of I didn't get your papers graded because I was doing animal shelter stuff. And eventually I just kind of spun that into more and more shelter builds and less wanting to grade papers, and here I am. But yeah, I was a teacher for a long time. So this is my mess of a trailer right now. Usually it's much more organized, but after being here for 2.5 weeks, it's starting to look like my closet at home.
This is so cool. I'm standing in what basically is a workshop on wheels. The Rescue Rebuild team travels the United States with all of these tools and parts to revamp shelters all across the United States. I'm actually a little envious of this workshop. I need one for myself. It's like a tiny house, but it's a workshop.
So these are all like different projects and different trips. It's really, really neat. So yeah, it's really fun.
It seems like it's a lot of fun.
So yeah, I love it. We have a good time. You gotta do it. And everybody's like, it is really a big family, so it's kind of fun. Love it, love it. I'm a very lucky person to be able to do this every day. Let's get you to work.
Okay, let's do it.
Perfect.
Why is that always so satisfying?
Power tools are always satisfying. And this actually goes up on top here.
Okay.
It's nice that they cut this for us.
It is nice.
I love when
It's nice to have people.
I know, isn't it?
Where do I aim? How do I?
So, keep your finger off the trigger.
Yeah.
Okay, so this little part here is how you line it up. Perfect.
I think I did that. I think that was sort of a do-over.
It is, but that's fine.
It's looking good.
It's gonna be nice.
Thanks for letting me
There you go,
help.
sir. No, thank you for helping. We put in the tires, we put in the stairs, we put in the sunshades. What do you think is going to be your favorite feature, the volunteers' favorite, maybe the dog's favorite?
Well, I think from the volunteer standpoint, it's going to be the shade.
Yeah.
And the way that thing is laid out, no matter how the sun hits it, we got shade. You start down that road, I'm just surprised we haven't got a truck to run off the road yet, just looking. You know, it's just so neat. I have never seen tires with polka dots on them and painted up.
When we first got here, you had regular adoptable kitties out here. Now this is going to be quarantine, but one of the things that you had talked about was not having enough protection for animals running in and out. And so we do a lot of double containment at Rescue Rebuild. And so this was actually your idea. We just kind of made it happen, but I think it'll work. So the kitties have already moved in here, and they're in the process of reorganizing this. So I know it's not probably how you'll have it eventually, because we're still making a mess of your shelter before it gets better. But I mean, this is going to be great. We got the insulation tucked in. You've got clean, really easy to clean walls. You've got a nice isolation area back there to keep these guys a little bit separate. I think it's going to be easier for your staff and your
No
volunteers.
doubt. Absolutely no doubt. And again, look at the colors.
I know.
My gosh.
It'll be fun.
There's a problem. You have made it so good for these cats and dogs. They don't want to be adopted.
Well, that's okay. We're gonna move them out anyway. They're just gonna get to their new homes and they're gonna be like, this is so subpar.
I just, you know, for the animals, we couldn't ask for better.
So what do you think of your cat trees? Are these not the craziest things ever? You think I should build one of these for myself, huh? But I think it's gonna be great. You know, you've got the ceiling that's gonna let natural light in.
Right.
You've got the nice perches everywhere. You've got a bench for people to sit on and come out here and play with cats. You've got a nice ramp. The kitties can come and go as they please. I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah,
It's not so bad to be a cat here.
No.
Look at that.
All you can say is wow.
Oh, the guys did such a great job on this. I mean, they put so much heart into it, so I think it's kind of fitting that there's hearts on the walls. It's really cool. Look at what these guys did. Look at this. You know, you got like a cat food dispenser. I mean, I don't know. They just, our volunteers amaze me with their creativity and what they can do. But I mean, I'm going to give you these before I forget, but it's now yours.
Keys to my building.
It's not my problem anymore. It's yours. Enjoy it.
Super.
Thanks for making our 100th build so special.
It's special. That's not the word for it.
Really appreciate it. Awesome.
Just a wow.
So you saw Rescue Rebuild's 100th build. We couldn't do this without all of our amazing donors. Thank you so much for enabling us to help people in projects like this.
Rescue Rebuild! That's a wrap for today. The crew is packing up to head home and the animals are getting ready to explore their new spaces. To learn more about how you can help, visit our website. Our crew had the opportunity to participate in a book distribution at a local hospital. This helps to form a connection between the doctor and the patient and make visits easier. Today, the Happi House has the opportunity to join forces with the GreaterGood to distribute lots and lots of books to a local literacy program. I'm at the GreaterGood warehouse and I'm very impressed with the volume of books I see. All of these books are going to find a new home. We've opened a few boxes just to see exactly what kind of books these children will be receiving. There's a variety of books for all ages and interests. This project was made possible by a very generous donor. I cannot wait to get these books into the hands of kids. Oh, look, pointing to Happi. I'm with Matt Keller today, Chief Marketing Officer of Capstone, and we are delivering some books to some kids here at the Hennepin County Medical Center.
That's right.
So can you tell me a little bit about what Capstone does and how this project came to be?
Well, Capstone's a publishing company in Minnesota here. We've been around about 25 years and we do a lot for struggling readers and reluctant readers. Classic reading profile would be a 10-year-old boy who just doesn't want to read. We do a lot of high interest publishing for them. And we connected with GreaterGood and with HCMC to donate over 40,000 books here. And so we're excited to be providing reading material for kids who come here to the hospital.
As I understand it, a lot of the children who come here may not even have books in their home.
No, that's right, exactly. And research shows that if you give a kid a book, they're going to become engaged in learning, and it's also a bonding thing with the mom or the dad. And so we just want to make sure literacy is a big deal for Capstone, and you have to start young with kids. And if a kid is reading by the age of 5, their future looks much brighter than if they're not.
40,000 books is a lot of books.
Yes, it is.
Thank you for this generous donation. I know it's going to make a lot of kids really happy.
No, you bet. Capstone is proud to be part of this.
Not only are we bringing books here today, but we are going to be doing this project over and over throughout the country. So there are book nooks throughout the campus where these books are stored, and then on the back of each book is a sticker in 7 different languages that says, "Take me home," so that no matter who the child is, what language their parent reads, they will see the sticker that they are invited to take that book home.
So doctors can give out the books, but children can also shop for their own shop. When I say shop, I mean take their own books.
Right.
That's such a great program.
So when a child comes into the hospital, there are a lot of reasons we give a book. We might give a book to calm a kid down. We might give a book to a child to distract them. A patient might be really sick, and we've got the sibling there, and you kind of feel left out. No matter what the situation is, we can always bring a book in, and it really makes a huge difference. For literacy to be important to families, it needs to be important to everybody. And one of the ways we do that is that the doctor walks in with the book, talks to the parents about how important it is. A lot of times we don't actually say reading a book. Sometimes our parents aren't literate, but it's really, if you're 2 years old, you don't know if somebody is reading the words in the book.
Right.
It's the number of words a child hears, and that's why we have the program.
So when a patient comes in, do they always get a book, or how does it work?
Thanks to the generosity of the Reach Out and Read program, we have books available for every well child check from 6 through 5 years of age, but we also have extra books for kids, younger than 6 months through adolescence.
Tell me firsthand what you see when you give a book to a child.
Oh, immediately it changes the encounter for us because we're not so scary all of a sudden. They open up right away, they'll smile, and they'll reach out and grab the book, and they're clearly excited about it every time. Some of these kids, you see them hugging the books as they leave. I mean, they love them, yeah.
That's so great.
And they get excited when they come back for their next visit, and their next visit they ask about the books every time. Really, it's just the excitement that they have for it is the best. I can't imagine doing the visits, especially those long checkups for the kids, without the books.
We had a little boy was sitting down at the table, and a volunteer was reading to him for an hour and a half. And so she started packing up her books, and he said, "Where are you going?" And she said, I have to get back to work. And he said, "Are you going to miss me?" And she said, "I am going to miss you. You are so great. And they're going to call your name next. I know they're going to call you next." And he said, "No, they're not going to call me next. I was done with my exam when I sat down with you. I asked my papa if I could stay for stories." The kids who come, they know that every time they come, they're going to get a book. And they always say their favorite book is the one they get from their doctor.
That's a very great story.
It is. It's why I come to work every day.
City Harvest in New York City feeds so many people a day, I could not even believe it. Tagging along with their crew as they made their collection and then watching a meal be made was so inspiring. The Happi House is joining City Harvest today. It's a New York-based food rescue organization, actually the world's first. We are going to follow them along on a typical day of food rescue and then distribution.
City Harvest is the world's first and oldest food rescue organization. This year we are on task to rescue 55 million pounds of food, which we will then distribute to emergency food programs throughout New York City. We have over 500 programs, and they're food pantries and soup kitchens that serve 1.4 million people every year. Essentially, what we have is a bunch of really great staff members who go out and find the food from restaurants and manufacturers, farms, and all over the country. And then they bring it back to our warehouse, where we have a wonderful group of people there who get it off those trucks and put it on other trucks that go out and distribute to those programs.
Can you tell me how you became became involved with this program?
When I started Silver Moon Bakery, I wanted to also be able to satisfy our customers, but also to be able to help the people who really need and can't afford bread, which is the staff of life.
How much bread do you donate each week?
I would say we donate between 150 and 250 pounds of bread a week, which is a lot of bread for us because we're a teeny tiny bakery.
Yes.
Any given day, someone will come and say, "Hey, City Harvest, you're doing, a hell of a job," whatever the case, and that makes my day. We get to feed people, we get to at least stop some of the hunger. You know what I mean? And
How much food do you pick up every day?
oh wow, we give out like 150,000 pounds a day.
I'm sorry, did you say 150,000 pounds of food a day?
Yes, we have a lot of trucks, so a day we give out. Yeah.
That's a lot of food.
Oh yeah.
Food.
I've always heard of the hunger, but I've never seen it until I've been on firsthand. And we do a lot. We try, we're making a dent.
You do good work.
It's much more for us to do, but we're making a dent.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So.
After all the donations are picked up, they're delivered to places just like this, Broadway Community Church, which has a soup kitchen. Lots of people then receive nourishing and healthy meals.
It's a good day for a lot of reasons. I can think of many. I got this guy with a camera in front of me. It must be important. They're from City Harvest, and they're doing a little film about what City Harvest gives to us, and we sure are happy and grateful about that. City Harvest makes it a good day all the time. But this is called by the New York Times the 4-star soup kitchen. It's a soup kitchen run by Broadway Community that gets a lot of stuff from City Harvest, and we're very happy about that. City Harvest brings us lots of great things, including a lot of fresh produce. Every Monday afternoon we have a fresh produce pantry all through the year, and City Harvest is absolutely essential to that. The main course today, Shanghai ginger swai. That's an Asian catfish. Delicious fillet of fish that's been poached in a dashi and miso broth with shiitake and scallion and seaweed and ginger, all festooned across it as it sits on top of a lovely piece of rice.
Before you came to City Harvest, were you a chef in your previous life?
Yes, and I've been a chef for about the last 30 years or so. I came in here 15 years ago just to volunteer for a day, right after 9/11 actually. A lot of people, I lived around the corner at the time, and a lot of people after 9/11 got around to doing something that they said they were going to do, like volunteer at their local soup kitchen.
Right.
Well, I did that too, but I ended up getting stuck here, and here I am today, and it's the best job I ever had.
I feel like from talking to you, you don't feel stuck at all. You think that this is pretty amazing.
I do. And for dessert, apricot banana parfait. When I first came, about 3/4 of the people that walked in our doors had been born poor. They were poor, they had been born poor, they grew up poor, they were poor. Today, 3/4 of the people that walk in this door today were not born poor. They were born middle class, straightforward, and something happened. So these are us. These are not somebody else. And we treat them like they're us.
In New York City, we know that there are over 1 million people who are food insecure, and 1 in 4 children are food insecure. And the interesting thing about New York City is it's the type of hunger that we're facing is these are middle-class people or working people who have jobs and have, access to resources, but New York is expensive. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes it means choosing between the rent and food. It may mean a mom is feeding her kids 3 meals, but she's only having 1.
Okay.
It may mean, skipping lunch and things of that nature. And so that's why City Harvest is committed to not just providing food, but providing healthy foods, because that may also be the option. The option may be to buy a less healthy option because it's cheaper. And so that's really what we do. Over 50% of what we distribute is fresh produce, 75% is nutrient dense, because it's bigger than just food insecurity, it's also health. And so we try to combat all of those things at one time, given the special circumstances of New York City.
If you can help someone, put a smile on their face, it'll make you feel good.
Yes, it will.
I sleep good at night. So when I go home, I know I did a good job.
What more can you ask for than that?
That's right.
It's really an inspiring program, and thank you for inviting us along for the ride so we could see firsthand all the good that City Harvest is doing.
Thank you for telling the world. We appreciate it.
One of my favorite projects is Free Bikes for Kids. They distribute bikes to kids in need, and honestly, watching these kids get a bike is so joyful. It is such a gift, because not only do they get to ride their bikes for pleasure, but often this is how older kids get to and from a job and to and from school. It's so important. Free Bikes for Kids is an organization that collects used bikes and refurbishes them to give them to children, teens, and even adults who would not otherwise be able to have a bike. I'm really excited to be passing this bike along because I remember all 3 of my boys riding it, and it makes me really happy that somebody is going to be able to continue using it. We are here today at the donation site at the Mall of America, where we will see 5,000 bikes come into this facility. As we estimated, that means 1 bike will come through the doors every 6 seconds. The first truck has arrived. Let's see what kind of bikes are going to be unloaded. There's about 30 trucks that are going to be traveling the Twin Cities today, collecting bikes from various Alina clinics, and then the bikes will come here on a regular rotation. The volunteers are going to create an assembly line to transport all of the bikes into the facility, and then volunteers will begin assessing bikes immediately to start cleaning them up, determine what repairs need to be made, and getting these bikes ready for kids. This year's collection and distribution site is the Mall of America. They donated a huge amount of space that's currently under construction, and also gave some funding to Free Bikes for Kids to set up their workshop. This whole area will become a workshop, and the volunteers will check everything, repair everything, make sure every single bike is in working order. Right now it's empty, but soon it's going to be full of very, very busy bike repairmen, cleaners, volunteers who just help in any way they can, because they're very interested and passionate about getting bikes into the hands of kids who might not otherwise ever receive a bike.
One day I got a call, this was like early December, and they said, we know this family who's really struggling financially, they can't buy a Christmas present for their kid. Do you know one of your friends who would have a bike in their garage we could give to them? So I called 4 friends, all 4 of them had a bike. And I thought, does every garage have a bike in it that's not being used? So I called one of the local TV stations. I said, I want to come on and invite the public to donate bikes to us. We did, and in 2 weeks we got 250 bikes. We fixed them up. We gave them away to kids in need. And my friend said, that was fun, let's do it next year. And we did, and we gave away 750. And they said, that was fun, let's do it next year. We gave away 1,500. And now we've been giving away 5,000 bikes every year for the last 3 years.
Today is the big day. Free Bikes for Kids in Minnesota has gathered over 5,000 bikes, and they're going to be distributed to children and teens today. The crowd has already begun arriving. This is so great because in addition to just getting bikes, they're getting bikes that have been refurbished and are good as new. They've got experts on hand to determine what size bikes the kids need. Bill, what size is my ride? I think I want a coaster. There are helmets available, and then all of the bikes will go through one final tune-up before the kids roll out with them. Hey Fred, why do you volunteer for Free Bikes for Kids?
I just want to see kids be really happy with a new bike, and this is the epitome of happiness for a kid.
Everyone needs a bike.
Everyone needs 2 bikes.
Everyone,
maybe 3.
or 7, like
Or
you
7.
have. What are you going to do with your bike?
Me and my mentor, we're going to go bike riding, and we're going to have lots of fun.
That sounds like a great idea. I like to have lots of fun. Is this your mentor right here?
The resources provided by Free Bikes for Kids is certainly very helpful, and it really helps to further the mission of Boulder Options and making sure that the youth are active and set goals and able to participate together with one another out in the community. I thought that he was going to pick a pink bike with tassels.
Well, I mean, hey, what do you got against pink bikes with tassels?
Nothing. I thought that real men wear pink, so I thought it would be a really, really good color for your bike.
No. Hey, William, we just caught up with your brother over here. Why didn't you tell me you had a brother here?
I forgot to tell you, but...
You forgot about your brother?
Yeah.
Oh, hi. Are you Edward?
Yes.
Are you going to choose a bike today, too?
Yeah.
This is so great. Okay, let's take these brothers to choose their bikes. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go. William chose a bike and was fitted appropriately, and then came to the last stop, which is the final inspection of the bike. And one of the mechanics decided the chain wasn't quite right. So now we've got it up here, and they are doing a final tweak to make sure this is going to be a safe and sturdy ride for William.
It's a great volunteer experience. Our volunteers love it because they know they're actually doing something good. And giving a kid a bike is really easy thing to do. When you walk in and say, okay, why don't you register, we'll measure your height, we'll fit you for a helmet, we'll give you a goodie bag, and then you go pick a bike. I mean, it's just a wonderful, great experience, and it helps all.
What's so great about this, and I know we've talked about it before, but these bikes were just sitting in people's garages, just doing nothing, and now they're going to do something pretty great.
Absolutely. These were collecting dust, and now they're going to be collecting memories with kids.
What an amazing day. Watching all of these kids get bikes was a gift in itself. To learn more about Free Bikes for Kids, visit our website. I've taken the plunge 3 times for Special Olympics, the Polar Plunge. And being in Minnesota, jumping in the water in March is definitely a thrill, a chilling thrill. The Happi House is at the Minneapolis Polar Plunge today. There's so much going on here, and it's all to benefit Special Olympics.
Minneapolis Polar Plunge, are you ready?
There's going to be a 5K race. There's a costume contest. And the main event, people are jumping in the lake. Not the lake that we like to swim in the summertime, frozen Lake Calhoun.
Oh my God! 3, 2, 1. 1.
is some crazy stuff. I will not be doing a belly flop into the cold lake. How many jumpers do you think you're going to have today?
We have over 4,500 registered for the whole weekend.
So can you tell me a little bit about the history of the polar plunge and how this whole thing got started? I just saw somebody in a bathing suit, and it is about 30 degrees here right now. That's crazy.
Lifesavers right there. We've been doing it in Minnesota for over 18 years, and basically we're raising funds for Special Olympics. So participants are raising $75 or more, and then we're cutting a hole in the lake, and people are paying to do that and raising a lot of money for it.
Well, for a really good cause, for Special Olympics. Yeah. What does the money raised go towards?
We're providing year-round sports training and competition for people with intellectual disabilities. We have over 8,000 Special Olympics athletes just in Minnesota, and tons more athletes that we want to reach. So it's all going towards that.
Can you tell me a little bit about your participation in Special Olympics and this event?
Well, I'm the coach of a team called the Flames, which consists of about 100 athletes. And Steven is one of the athletes on our team.
And also your son?
Also my son, yes. And this is his first year plunging.
Are you nervous about taking the plunge?
No, of course not.
You're not going to complain about the cold?
No.
Good.
Well, good luck with the plunge, and thank you so much for talking with me.
You are so welcome. I thank you so much for talking to you.
And good luck to you, too.
Thank you.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome, Brian.
Well, thank you.
You just flew in from Seattle.
Yes, I did. I'm so excited to leave that 61 degrees and sunny weather to join you here in balmy Minneapolis.
This actually is balmy, FYI.
I know.
All right, so you agreed to take the polar plunge with us, and what prompted you to do that?
Well, it's for a great cause. I mean, how can you not do something that helps out kids that, if it's just a little immersion and it's cold water for a hot second, why not?
That's a great attitude. I mean, I also think that you're a part of a bigger organization called GreaterGood, where there's a lot of charitable acts that go on there. So it's sort of the mission behind the company you work for.
True, yeah, without a doubt, the fact that, we try to do as much good as we can being the greater good. But, this one in particular is kind of part of my soul. I like to do something a little adventurous, and I have never done a polar plunge in Minneapolis in the wintertime, so why not?
That's a great attitude. All right, I will be plunging along with you, and it's getting close to the time. Are you nervous at all?
Mainly nervous about what it's going to be like once we're out of the water. I might end up as an ice sculpture or something here.
So today, I am on a team with Creative Kid Stuff that's going to take the plunge, and I'm a little nervous about it, but I think it's going to be really great. But if people can't participate in an event like this or they've missed it, how else can you help Special Olympics? What can people do?
Yeah, we have our competitions are year-round, so you can volunteer at a state or any competition that we have. You can volunteer at our fundraising events that we have, and they're all year-round, so there's always an opportunity to get involved.
So obviously financial donations, but service as well.
Yes, yep, absolutely. And you can always donate online to our website or our plunge site, so lots of ways.
Thank you so much, Megan. This event is really well done. People are having a great time and doing good, and that's what it's really all about.
Yeah, and good luck to you on your plunge.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. Thanks for plunging. Get ass last!
Picture Saves a Life is an organization that literally changes the lives of animals with one picture.
Hi, my name's Seth Castile with Underwater Dogs. I've volunteered at animal shelters all over the country, and there are millions of pets looking for forever homes, and they need our help. One of the best ways we can help them is to take a better adoption picture. One picture saves a life.
One Picture Saves a Life is a program that we put together in partnership with GreaterGood.com, the animal rescue site, and Seth Castile, the photographer who you might know from Underwater Dogs, Underwater Puppies, and Underwater Babies. And it's all about transforming the face of rescue and adoption. We're trying to get more pets adopted out of the shelter into loving homes by using positive, hopeful photography.
Imagine you're a dog or a cat. You're brought here in the middle of the night, you're going to be confused, and you're going to be scared. It's not an ideal time to have your picture taken, but unfortunately for these dogs and cats, it is the time their picture is taken. And that picture is then used to help them find a forever home, which is really tough. So we're here to come in and create some uplifting, hopeful portraits of dogs and cats to help them find forever loving homes.
And we want to help people take better photos to be used for adoptions because most adoptions start online.
One picture saves a life! Woo!
This calling found me, I didn't find it. Found me to try to make the world a better place by taking more positive pictures to help animals have a better life. And so for me, it's always been about that, and I always want to do that. So it's so great to be able to team up with GreaterGood, an animal rescue site, to be able to do this on a larger scale where we can invite people to come out and learn what we've learned and also share what we've learned from everybody else. Give away brand new cameras, give away lenses, inspire people to go out and make a difference. So many people have no idea. They can just walk down the street to their local shelter or rescue, take a couple pictures, and literally save lives of dogs and cats that otherwise would have been lost. And when you see people make that connection, that they can actually make a difference, they don't have to be a professional photographer, they don't have to have fancy gear, but when you see them identify with, oh my gosh, I can actually go do something today that makes a difference today. Hey everybody, Seth Castile here with One Picture Saves a Life at our very first workshop tour in Madison, New Jersey at St. Hubert's. Taking pictures, saving lives. We hope to see you at one of our upcoming workshops all across the United States.
So we've done probably 15 or 16 actually on-the-ground workshops all over the country and one in Puerto Rico. We invite shelters and rescues and volunteers from all over the region to come and attend these. And so we've trained at this point thousands of volunteers and shelter folks on how to better use these techniques. And we've given away hundreds and hundreds of camera packages as grants to give them the equipment that they need to do that. And then they learn from Seth at these workshops the tips and tricks that they need to take better photos.
I need a volunteer. You're gonna be our terrier. Let me get my camera. We're getting you adopted, Gary. Congratulations. Very nice. I'm always trying to engage with Dee Dee, so I'm either using some food, a treat, you know, that Dee Dee's allowed to have, or a squeaker toy or some kind of noise, or I can make some kind of a visual sign. So I always want Dee Dee to try to look directly into the camera lens. So for example, hey Dee Dee, look. Dee Dee, look at this. So I'll see if I can engage with Dee Dee like this. Dee Dee's interested in the treat. And then I'll kind of pull the treat away, and then I'll put the squeaker right above my camera lens, see if Dee Dee will look right at me. Boom, there's a picture. Good job, Dee Dee. Okay, you can have a treat now. Good job.
Zach, you just completed your training with Seth Castile. How did it go? What did you think?
You know, it's really inspiring. Just some great ideas, some great tips on how to make the most of the new camera and really showcase shelter animals in the best possible way. It was really an awesome seminar.
What is this going to mean to your shelter?
So I think it really is just giving us some new ideas and new ways to approach what we're already doing and to build upon it and really just make the best possible photos that we can. Really take that motto of one photo and use that as inspiration to just get some marvelous pictures of these marvelous pets to get them into marvelous homes.
I have been tracking you a little bit online and looking at your photos.
You're such a stalker.
They make me, I don't mean to be, but they actually bring me so much joy. So how did you think about putting dogs and puppies and babies underwater?
Not my idea, it was a dog's idea. I was doing my pet photography commissions. A dog named Buster, who's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, leaped into the pool chasing his tennis ball. I said, whoa, did a couple of underwater snapshots of Buster jumping in, and that was the beginning of the series of underwater dogs in 2010.
They're really fun to look at, honestly. It just makes you smile. I mean, it's honestly an instant smile.
I think it's the emotion of dogs at the very best. For some reason, the water has provided the opportunity for dogs to be perhaps the most expressive that they could be. When choosing a good location, it's important to find a place that has no distracting elements. Even though we have elements of nature, we have really weird trees, cacti, here's a really strange fountain. You know, the important thing is we want to make sure the focus is on the dog and not on a fountain. You know, we don't need a fountain in there. Try to find a location that doesn't have a lot of distractions in the background. After all, you want the focus to be on the dog.
I know that there's a whole series of online videos that you have that teach people the tips and techniques you're talking about. Where do we find the information that teach us how to do this?
onepicturesaves.com. All the videos are there, all the information's there. Log in, check them all out. There's a ton of information. Some of it is just basic. Some of it's very technical. I always recommend shooting in the shade. Now I'm in the sun. Now I'm in the shade. We're going to put the dogs just right here, use this as a backdrop. The pictures are going to look amazing. I try to incorporate elements of nature into photos. Sometimes you can't have them because they're not there. But if you can find them, use them. I taught my 94-year-old grandma how to use a digital SLR camera in 10 minutes.
Okay.
And she learned how to do it, and then maybe she forgot later, but she can relearn it because she's awesome.
Yeah.
But you can learn it. You can learn it, and it's not intimidating. You can learn it, and you can take professional pictures in a matter of minutes.
I appreciate your work. One, your artistic work, but also your nonprofit work. It's really inspirational. And I'm wondering if you would sign this book for my youngest son, Chandler.
I would be delighted to.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. How old is Chandler?
Chandler is 9. You can say it to the Chan Man. Visiting the Catherine Violet Hubbard Foundation and watching them rebuild a barn to make an animal sanctuary in honor of a little girl was one of the most moving experiences I have ever had. Catherine Violet Hubbard was a vivacious and kind little girl who fell victim to the Sandy Hook tragedy. Her love of animals and the world around her are the driving force behind the Catherine Violet Hubbard Foundation, whose mission is to celebrate the lives of all animals. Rescue Rebuild, a GreaterGood.org program, is working on a project to build the Catherine Violet Hubbard Animal Sanctuary, which will be a place that celebrates and supports animals while providing a beautiful resource to the community. The Happy House crew was thrilled to be invited to get an up-close view and help with the project.
After Catherine died, she was one of the first graders at Sandy Hook. We decided that we wanted to honor her life. We weren't sure what that really looked like, but over the course of the past 3 years, it's evolved into what we think she would just love and adore.
She, every day, was really taking care of animals, even at her young age, whether it was at the bus stop trying to find a stray cat that was nearby, or releasing a caterpillar, you know, onto a tree branch that was too close to where the kids were playing.
So it all started when we asked for donations to be sent to the animal center of Newtown. So we figured we could honor the cats and dogs and feed them or treats or whatever. So Animal Center comes back to us, and they had taken all of the money that came in Catherine's memory, and they set it aside and told us it was close to $125,000.
$125,000.
And that their goal, they had thought through a sanctuary. That's kind of what they were thinking about. Rescue was new to us. I didn't realize there was this huge network of people doing amazing things. So when they described a sanctuary, Bat and I said, done.
Yeah.
We could see Catherine, we could see her, the way that she used to play. It was always revolving around the welfare of animals. So we started down this path. The state conveyed the 34 acres of this pristine farmland over to the foundation 2 years ago.
It's beautiful out here. Yes.
Beautiful. You get on the property and you just center yourself, and it's just this serenity that we just know that once we start having animals and programming on site, I mean, people are just going to embrace what it is that we're trying to accomplish here.
What Jenny and Matt Hubbard really wanted to achieve is they felt that had Catherine continued on her mission, that she would have brought more people into the educational world of animal welfare and how to be good keepers of animals and good friends of animals. And so that's what they really want to preserve, is not only what her vision would have been for herself, but what she would have given back to the community. They're trying to give that back now.
What is the end game? What is this whole area going to become?
I mean, the Hubbard Foundation really wants this to make a very green space. So there's going to be a community garden. There's also going to be educational programs. There's going to be a vet clinic. There's going to be an animal sanctuary. It really is a community animal welfare dream.
We've been working with Rescue Rebuild for about a year and a half now. Bryn and her folks came out and they looked at the property and they were like, yeah, we've totally got this. Yeah.
and I want to say when Bryn came out here, you couldn't even see the barn. It was completely covered with overgrown
I have seen
trees.
pictures.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got this. What was your first thought when you came here?
Kerosene bulldozer.
Okay, perfect. Kerosene bulldozer, that's all that's needed.
Bryn crawled in through the back door, was kind of broken, and she went and she said, yeah, this is going to be beautiful when it's done.
The Hubbards really wanted to preserve the old rustic feel of this barn. It's, as best we can tell, built about 1915, and there's a lot of really neat structure in there, really rustic. They wanted to preserve that.
Before we even got here, this barn was covered in asbestos shingles that were dangerous for us to remove, so we had a company come in and remove those safely, dispose of them. And then when we got here, we were faced with a whole host of different graffiti and damage. We spent about half of the trip so far just fixing all that and getting to zero, basically.
One of the joys of working in old buildings is that there are always surprises. When we started taking the shingles off of this roof, we discovered that the whole back of the barn had been getting wet for years and there was a lot of rot, as you can see on this rafter here. One of the other things that we discovered was that this entire beam was rotted out. And this wood is not wood that you can go to the lumber yard and just buy. This is an old beam. And so we locally sourced a new one and we cut it to fit where the old one was. So we're all set here. And now all we have to do is put it back together.
I've looked at the full scope of the project. It's big, really big. But we're here for phase one.
Absolutely.
And what are you hoping to accomplish this phase and then what's next?
So Rescue Rebuild is strictly worried about the barn. That's our big part of this, not the main scope of the project. So phase one was just to basically get the barn back to being sound. There was tons of rot, the roof had failed, there was rot underneath the structure. So our plan, get it safe, get it watertight so that we can preserve it for the next phases. We're going to come back for phase two in October. Part of this whole project is also that they've promised to do a stewardship program with the land. They have to return it back to its native, which is hard to do. So lots of invasive foreign plants, that all has to be cleared out and maintained. So that's going to be a huge part of phase two, and then also maybe insulating the barn and getting it a little bit more weatherproof in terms of temperature.
And then phase three?
Phase three, that's a good call. So the end use of this is going to be farm animals. And so we want to do some pasture fence. They've got this really neat idea to bring in what they call a wood miser. He brings in a portable mill, actually. And so they're going to timber some of the trees on the property, keep it nice and green, and actually make their pasture fence out of timber from their own property. So then we would set the pasture fence, do some of the fencing for the animals.
It's such a great project.
So neat, right?
We're in Newtown, Connecticut for a build that's benefiting the Catherine Violet Hubbard Foundation. Catherine was one of the little girls that was killed in the Sandy Hook shooting. So we're working on the first phase of that, which is to restore this barn behind me, which will eventually be part of an education center that includes farm animals. And so this build has been particularly rewarding, especially because of how thankful the Hubbards have been to us, and just how the community has really stepped up to be a part of this, and to have volunteers every day, to have food for us every day. It's really been amazing.
what they're doing here and dedication of the young girls is pretty amazing. I mean, talk about, you know, dealing with the family and being able to participate in that and being included in something that's got to be so emotional for them. It's huge.
The end plan for the barn is small animals, small farm animals. So we want to do potbelly pigs, maybe some sheep, some goats, all those silly animals that people think it's a really great idea to own as a pet and then change their mind 2 years later. So that's the plan.
So it's a rescue.
It's of course a rescue, a sanctuary, but for farm animals down here.
What have you been doing to help with this project?
All sorts of stuff. I've been painting, lots of painting, clearly. It's definitely hard work, but I like it. It's fun, it's rewarding.
How's it going? Great. I'm just painting some windows here.
Did you guys get more ivy?
It's best to kind of lay low when somebody asks for volunteers to clear the poison ivy.
The community has been so incredibly generous, so supportive. They came out in droves.
Being able to still give back, to still be able to have fun while doing it, it's so worth it. And honestly, like, you're helping changing the world. That's really all that matters. You know, you're giving people chances, you're giving animals chances. It's really all that matters.
This is the second floor of the barn, which will eventually be used as an education center for children. I'm really excited about it because the bones of it are so great. It may not look like much right now, but a lot of work has gone into getting it to this point. I spent about 20 minutes of my life in this corner scraping whatever was on the floor. We don't need to talk about what it was, but it was strangely satisfying. And look up there. Somebody had a snack. The mice had a snack. What if people don't have skills? Like, for example, myself. I can drill things and that's about it. What can I still come?
Absolutely. As long as you have a willingness to learn, we will put you to work. We'll teach you new things, and there's something for everyone. We've had people that have been pregnant, people that have been handicapped. We've had people that are skilled laborers, skilled carpenters, the full spectrum. We'll find something for you to do, and we'll make sure you're involved in the project.
And that's why you had her sweeping up mouse poop?
I think Bryn assigned me that job.
Occupational hazard.
I had no idea, honestly. I had no idea what I was getting into. I knew that we were going to be working on a barn. The extent of the work on the barn, I did not know. I am ready to go home. I'm going to go home and I'm going to sleep for a week. At the end of the day, you know, we all gather at the pavilion and have dinner together, and we have dinner with Matt and Jenny, and that is the reward at the end of the day.
Who do you want to volunteer for this, and how important are volunteers to you?
I want every single person in this country to volunteer. We have a really great statistic. If everybody between the ages of 15 and 60 gave 1 8-hour day of their year, that would be the equivalent of all 14,000 shelters in the United States having 65 full-time employees added to their roster. The power of volunteerism is immense. You don't need to be a skilled carpenter. Come lend your time, give your time, and that's what's going to change animal welfare in this country.
We have been just floored by the fact that everybody who touches this project, their hearts seem to connect with it, and Rescue Rebuild they saw it and they stuck with it. It would have been understandable for them to be like, this is great, timing's wrong, call us when you're ready.
Right.
But Bryn has just stayed at the heart of it and brought Rescue Rebuild here to do something that is unfathomable. 2 weeks and we have a barn.
Can you tell me more about the butterflies and what that means for you and for Catherine.
My favorite just image of her is she would sit in this garden. She would have some sort of butterfly in her hand and she'd be talking to it. The message was always the same. She would send it off and she would just ask it to tell their friends that she was kind because she knew that they would come back to her. And it's so, I mean, for us, we were never surprised because they would come back in droves.
Right.
And just her wisdom, you know, that's kind of where we center ourselves, that, you know, if we just accept people and beings and all the creatures for who they are and what they stand for, then we're honoring Catherine and the lessons that she taught us. My mother-in-law, we moved to a new house, and she had said that Catherine told her that there was going to be caterpillars on that tree.
Yeah.
She was like, you wait, there's going to be tons of caterpillars on this tree. And after Catherine died,
there they were.
Tons. So as people get involved with the foundation and they start doing projects like this or working on the property or attending programs, you know, our hope is that they get a sense of Catherine and what she was all about.
Yes, that's a great story.
Yeah.
Thank you for talking with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
To learn more about what the Catherine Violet Hubbard Foundation is doing and other Greater Good projects, visit our website. It's such an honor to be able to be part of these experiences and even contribute to them sometimes. This is why I love being part of the Happi House. I'm gonna drive this thing. Okay, how do I do it? I get to drive this thing. All right, do I wanna drive? Yeah, how do I do it?